Homelessness is on the rise in the North Country. Officials and organizations throughout the region are trying to figure out how to support unhoused families and individuals. Some are considering opening shelters, while others are adding warming centers to try to help fill the gaps in the colder months. We take a deeper look at what's happening in Jefferson County on today's Story of the Day. Hi, I'm Kara Chapman. It's Tuesday, November 26th. Up first, Clinton County seems to have averted a major economic loss. A Canadian school bus manufacturer named Microbird will take over Nova Bus's facility in Plattsburgh when it closes next year. Nova Bus has employed about 350 people in the past, the same number of jobs Microbird hopes to create over the next 5 years. Gary Douglas is president of the North Country Chamber of Commerce. He says the fact that the two companies are in the same industry and Microbird will be stepping in so quickly almost never happens.
We achieved a remarkable outcome here in getting Microbird to step in and buy this operation and commit to the continued production of buses, different kinds of buses, but buses.
Microbird says it expects site preparation and hiring to begin in January. The start of production is scheduled for next summer. A couple of President-elect Donald Trump's picks for his White House staff have ties to the North Country. Dan Scavino graduated from SUNY Plattsburgh in 1998. He'll be among Trump's senior staff, serving as assistant to the president and deputy chief of staff. Trump's choice for White House press secretary is Caroline Leavitt. She served in the deputy role during Trump's first term, then did a stint as Congresswoman Elise Stefanik's director of communications. At 27, Leavitt is slated to become the youngest press secretary in U.S. history. And if you're in Clinton County, there's still time to catch the Canadian Pacific Holiday Train. For 26 years now, the train has traveled all over the U.S. and Canada. It's covered in holiday lights, and there's live music at each stop. The train got on the tracks a couple days ago. It was scheduled to stop in Port Henry a little after 5 p.m. this evening and should now be heading to Plattsburgh. It's slated to be at the Amtrak station there from 7:20 to 7:50 p.m. Its last North Country stop will be the Rouses Point Junction on Pratt Street from 9 to 9:30 p.m. Along with performing music and promoting holiday cheer, the train also raises money for local food banks. Communities across the North Country are grappling with how to support unhoused individuals and families. Warren County is considering turning a county-owned home into the area's first family shelter to help people get back on their feet. Christina Mastriani is the Commissioner of Social Services for Warren County. At a meeting last week, she said more families in the area are struggling with homelessness.
Factors like rising cost, limited affordable housing, domestic violence, mental health issues, and substance abuse issues all contribute to this crisis. Our district primarily relies on motels to provide emergency shelter for families, but these placements often do not offer a suitable environment for family units.
The Glens Falls Post-Star reports there are currently 16 families, including 32 children, staying in motels. Mastriani says if the county-owned home is converted into a shelter, it could serve 3 to 4 families at a time. The Department of Social Services and Public Works will gather information and present more details to the County Board of Supervisors in January. Meanwhile, in Watertown, a new warming center recently opened for the winter. That's a place where people who are homeless can go to get out of the cold and access things like books and computers. As Amy Feiereisel reports, the warming center is just a piece of the puzzle in addressing homelessness in Jefferson County, which has been on the rise for the last few years.
In mid-November, the New Life Christian Church in Watertown opened its doors as a daytime warming center.
We don't have an actual shelter within our area.
That's Joel Berthet. He's been a pastor at the New Life Christian Church for over a decade.
Bigger cities have several, so we don't have that. And so this has been an ongoing issue.
In the void of a homeless shelter, Watertown has a small network of warming centers. The Emmanuel Church offers a meal and a warm space each evening. The Salvation Army has an overnight center. The New Life Christian Church fills the daytime need, meaning all 24 hours are covered. Berthet says that allows people to access local resources.
Whether it be DSS or whether it be a local nonprofit or their caseworker.
Crucially, they offer phone access and computers.
For them to be able to get online and whether it be look for jobs or housing.
Berthet says so far, they've seen about a half dozen folks on weekdays and more like 9 or 10 on the weekends. He expects that number to increase after serious snowfalls and as daytime temperatures get colder. The number of people experiencing housing issues has been on the rise in Watertown and Jefferson County for several years now. Earlier this fall, Jefferson County's housing director, Jillian Rudder, spoke with WWNY-TV. She said, while it's very difficult to quantify exactly how many people are homeless, they're getting more calls from people who have lost their housing and need help.
We have seen an increase of those people who we have placed, meaning people who have come in who are homeless looking for emergency housing assistance to get them off of the street.
From last summer to this summer, Rudder says the number of people they helped with emergency housing jumped from about 230 to 300. That's a 30% increase.
So we've seen an increase, and we've consistently seen an increase occurring since the eviction moratorium.
Rudder is referring to the spring of 2022, when a pandemic-era moratorium on evictions expired. The Salvation Army opened its nighttime warming center for the first time that winter, after dozens of people started to take refuge under a city-owned pavilion at night. The second winter the Salvation Army opened its warming center, it was almost always full, says Rudder.
They were at capacity nearly every night that the warming center was in operation, so that was from 11/1 through the end of April. I don't think that there was many nights where they had empty beds.
There are a number of housing projects in the works in Watertown. There's a 63-unit affordable housing facility that's breaking ground this fall. And in September, a 70-unit supportive housing project called Pine Camp Apartments got a big state grant. That could break ground in the spring. But those are both years away. Joel Bethet at the New Life Christian Church says they hope to help bridge the gap.
A partial solution in the meantime that people are able to at least get out of the cold, hang out, until some of those other things are able to open up and offer more long-term solutions.
One of the biggest challenges for this winter will be getting people from warming center to warming center. The New Life Christian Church is about 3 miles from the other two centers. The county has been providing bus tickets, but Bethet says the church is looking for a more permanent solution.
We're trying to work with either another nonprofit with a van or volunteer transportation to make it more feasible, so they're not having to navigate and shift from one bus to the next bus.
Bethet says the outpouring of support from both the leadership at his church and the congregants has been really encouraging.
The amount of volunteers that have stepped up to be able to even help make this a reality. We've had people asking, hey, can I bring in these clothing items, or can I bring in some food for the weekend?
As nonprofits and the county try to tackle the symptoms of homelessness, the city of Watertown wants to make it harder for the unhoused to live on the street. This past summer, there were at least 2 homeless encampments in the city. This month, the Watertown City Council proposed 2 new ordinances. One would stop homeless people from camping on city property. The other prohibits people from crowding or obstructing streets. Critics say those ordinances would effectively punish homeless people, while supporters say the new rules would protect the public. The City Council will have a public hearing regarding the new laws next Monday, December 2nd. Amy Feiereisel, North Country Public Radio.
More news all the time at ncpr.org. Music today by Paul Myers of Colton and Evan Veenstra of Gananoque, Ontario. I'm Kara Chapman, North Country Public Radio.